I really, really appreciate everyone taking the time to be here. Folks can come in, we can close this door too, I think, just for sound. I appreciate everyone being here. It's good to see friends and neighbors from the North End, community leaders, many members and leaders from our restaurant community here as well. Thank you so much for being here today. I wanted just to say a few words, and then I'll pass it over to my colleagues in government and then a few of our leaders from the restaurant community who wanted to share some thoughts as well. I know that, well, first of all, appreciate everyone in this room. Want to make sure that the conversation here today really reflects the respect that we all have for our city, for our neighborhoods, for each and every one of our restaurants and the small businesses that make Boston thrive. And I'm grateful to everyone for being part of that and making sure that we can be the city that we know our residents deserve. Now, I know there's been a lot in the news over the last couple days and weeks about our outdoor dining program. I think some of this is just that people are excited to be able to come back together again and to enjoy and to celebrate all across our city what it means to have some sense of what things were like a little bit before the pandemic, now past the Omicron surge, being together again. There are many ways in which our city services are delivered differently across different neighborhoods. That's how it goes for trash pickup. That's how it goes for language access. That's how it goes because what I love about this job and city government is that everything we do, we are trying to meet people where they are. And that means that equity doesn't mean equality all across the board. If a community needs more days of trash pickup, we try to do that in certain places. I know it needs to be more in certain parts of the city. If a community needs to make sure that there is translation and interpretation built into everything we do that in specific parts across the city. And I will tell you, from representing this city for a long time, running a very long mayoral campaign as well in every single neighborhood, that one of the particular quality of life issues in this neighborhood, in the North End, was related to the impacts of outdoor dining. This is a neighborhood and a community that we all see stands out in the imagination of so many people who live in and come visit our city. There's nowhere else like it when it comes to the number of restaurants, all tied into a true sense of community. That is something that we celebrate and that I know the neighbors and community members in this neighborhood treasure. And as a former resident of this neighborhood, I treasured it too and continue to. It also means that because the sidewalks are so narrow, we can't fit outdoor dining right on the sidewalks, that it is a very different impact here in a neighborhood where there aren't alleys that run behind for trucks delivering the supplies or parking, that this is a significant impact. We've seen how that's played out over the last couple years. The last 2 years have been a pilot program, an emergency authorization with help from the state legislature to ensure that our small businesses would be able to just keep their doors open. That has meant that the typical processes of how outdoor patios have been approved, which have been one by one by one, were kind of waived so that we could have neighborhood-wide programs. We saw in many parts of the city that this was incredible. In the North End, it was incredible for drawing people in, for really creating a buzz, something that you had to go and see and visit if you weren't from Boston, and it really represented something very, very special. But I also heard much from our residents in the neighborhood as well, that it is a very different impact when you have nearly 80 restaurant outdoor dining patios in this neighborhood in a small area compared to more than anywhere else across the city, and almost all of them directly on the street. Now, I really treasure all parts of our community, and most of all, I treasure that the folks who live and work in Boston see us all as connected to the same community. And there's been a lot of noise, but I know from the conversations we've been having, from the people who make up the leadership and the voices across all different parts of our city and our communities, that we all want the same thing at the end of the day. We all want each and every one of our neighborhoods to be safe, healthy, thriving, places that people love to live, places that people love to visit and to spend time in. That is what every single person in this room here today wants. And I'm grateful to our restaurant owners who recognize that to make this work in this neighborhood, I'm just going to pretend we're standing in the North End right now, to make this work in the North End, we need to have a specially tailored program for our North End residents. That means that we need the resources to be able to address some of the impacts that will help contribute to an even greater quality of life. That means we need to have spacing between the patios that allow for people to cross the street in a safe way. That means we need to have a component where we get constant feedback from everyone. And so there have been many meetings with our task force and the residents and the restaurant owners and community leaders who have been part of that. There have been many public meetings about this particular program related to outdoor dining. And I do want to say that I have learned a lot, and I'm still learning in this job, about how we can make sure that each and every one of you feel heard and respected and included in all of our processes. And we're going to keep working to get better at that as we go. Here today, I just want to reinforce that I believe we can come to a situation this summer where our community members, which includes our residents and our restaurant owners, are all thriving. We need the resources to do that. And so through conversations as of late, we have made some important clarifications to our program, and you'll hear from other folks about this too. But one is that we heard feedback around the timing of when these resources could be delivered, that making it so that they could be paid out in monthly chunks over time as opposed to all up front would make a big difference for some of our restaurants, and we are happy to accommodate that. This was always designed to be a monthly resource fee that would be $1,500 a month and over 5 months. But if there are restaurants that only want to participate in the program for 3 months or 2 months or 4 months, happy to accommodate that is prorated according to the time that you need for your outdoor patio. We also want to clarify that there are many restaurants that are now, thank goodness, starting to recover their business. For others, it is taking a little longer, and there are differences in the situations that restaurants are in all across the city. But in this particular neighborhood, we want to make clear that there will be a hardship waiver process that will take into account, for example, whether or not you have a liquor license, which could affect your ability to be part of this, whether or not you are on one of the main streets such as Hanover or Salem, or you're in a less dense area when it comes to outdoor patios, whether you might have a much smaller outdoor patio just given the storefront space that you have and the accommodations that have had to be made for emergency vehicles and traffic and all that. So I'm grateful that so many of our restaurant owners do see that there is tremendous value for us generating the resources necessary to do this differently this year in the North End, to do it right. And we have spent a lot of time on the city side. Many members of our team. I want in particular to thank John Romano, who's been in charge of leading this program, Sarah D'Amico, who's been our liaison for the neighborhood, Al Villar from the Transportation Department, who's been so involved with planning and mapping out every bit of this, Chief Malor, whose cabinet, Brianna Malor, whose cabinet has been in charge of the community engagement, Chief Shagun Idowu, who's been thinking about outdoor dining and our small businesses across the city. This is something that we want to see work all across the city. It has to be specifically tailored for the impacts that it has in different parts of the city as well. And so very, very grateful to all those who are here today. I know that we're going to continue to be in conversation about all the things that our neighborhoods need in different ways. And I'm especially excited today to highlight some of the voices of leaders in our community who can tell you exactly what it's like, what this program means, and how it's been going as we plan for a safe, healthy, and vibrant summer of recovery and activity all across our city. So I will hand it over at this point, I think I've talked enough, to State Representative Aaron Michaelwitz.
Thank you, Mayor. It's It's nice to see everyone. A lot of friends, a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses. I'm going to start with an understatement. This has been a very unique and complicated situation, to say the least. Having over 90 liquor licenses in such a small residential community has always been a challenge, but with outdoor dining, it has become particularly daunting for all of us. I've always believed our public space is more valuable in the North End than anywhere else because of how little space we actually have. Expanding a restaurant onto a street may not seem like a big deal to other parts of the city or from a patron's perspective that's visiting the neighborhood, but it's a big deal to us in the North End. At the same time, we are grateful for our restaurants, and I love seeing many of them here today. The jobs they provide, the security they give with a busy storefront, the tax revenue they generate, and most importantly, the generosity they give to our local organizations that we are very thankful for. COVID restrictions were necessary, but they weren't easy for our small businesses, but particularly not easy for our restaurants, which is why many of us were so amenable to outdoor dining at the beginning. That is why I am extremely thankful to the leadership of the mayor and her team for recognizing that one size does not fit all in the North End, and for trying to find a solution that is workable. She has put the concerns of the neighborhood and of the community first and foremost in this discussion every step of the way, and that is why she is a true leader of our city. Not having outdoor dining would put our restaurants at a disadvantage for the rest of Boston, but not having the proper mitigation for what is still a pilot program will make this unworkable for the residents of the North End, as it was last year. In comparison, our nonprofit fee societies have been required to incur similar costs for many years to present the annual festivals in August on the same streets that we're talking about of the North End. I implore all of us in the North End to meet the moment by bringing flexibility, by bringing open-mindedness, and by bringing consideration into this conversation that we are having. Our neighborhood deserves that. And I want to turn it over now to State Senator, my colleague up at the State House who represents the North End as well, Lydia Edwards.
Thank you all. I've had the honor to represent this neighborhood as a city councilor for almost 4 years and now as the state senator. And I have to say I have felt welcome in many of the businesses and restaurants. I've been able to eat at your tables, get to know your concerns, and also eat inside and outside to see what it's like to be a patron on both sides. I've also been able to eat at the actual tables of many of the people who are residents in the North End. And what I see consistently and what I see in this room is a deep love for the neighborhood, a deep love for the culture, and a deep love to assure that our economy can thrive, but we all can survive together. This is an emergent moment where we're going to lead. The North End will lead this moment. We'll lead in this conversation. And the fact that I see people who had disagreed before coming together today speaks to the passion and beauty of this neighborhood. I am honored to represent you. I'm honored to see this happen, and I'm so grateful for your leadership, Mayor Wu, in making this moment happen. Yes, we're going to meet this moment, without a doubt. And we're meeting it because people on the ground are listening consistently and constantly. I'm honored also to be the chair of community development and small business for the state of Massachusetts. I am part of that conversation statewide. And everybody, I can assure you, is looking at the North End right now. We will lead. I do want to also thank and extend thank yous to Kathleen Joyce in the licensing department, also my liaison and chief of staff, Michael Benetti, and of course our favorite North Ender, Luigi. In many cases, you have to understand these young men and North Enders and young women are part of our everyday eyes and ears, doing the hard work and providing those bridges and making sure that all of us are heard and valued. This is a great moment. This is a great conversation. I can assure you that the balance of assuring that neighborhoods are given the mitigation money that they need and that the neighborhood will be spending it as soon as we're receiving it. This isn't just for a rainy day fund. This is actually put to work right away. This is going to, again, lead. We're learning still. We're emerging still, and we're going to be more united because of it. So I'm so happy that we got to this point. I want to thank you again, Mayor Wu. I want to thank my colleague, Representative Michaelwitz as well, another great North Ender, and really demonstrating how we can get through a stressful moment together. So I'm excited to hear from our restaurants and, of course, our residents. But I just have to say, this is the North End, and I'm proud and honored to represent it.
I'm going to invite up two of our restaurant owners next, Nick Verano and then Phil Frateroli.
Thank you, Mayor. As one of the many restaurant owners in the North End, I think it's great that we can work together with the city to find a resolution that helps us all. Whether we agree or disagree on certain things, it's okay, as long as we do what's best for the neighborhood and mostly for the residents that live there year-round. So I personally was always in favor of trying to find a resolution with the mayor and the mayor's staff on finding a way to make this work. Because if we can have cleaner streets, safety, more police, a better living environment, it makes it better for all us restaurant owners, right? Whether we agree or disagree, if we can come together and support the city in this and find a way to make this what I believe it always has been from being a little boy, born and raised in the North End for most of my life, is the greatest inner city Italian neighborhood in the country. And the experience that people get by coming in there and dining there, and now having the opportunity, because of a sad thing like a pandemic, to have the opportunity to have an outdoor dining experience, al fresco, is really amazing. So I believe if we can come together and figure this out this year, we can have this for a longer time. We can have this for the years to come. But if we don't, it's going to be something that's lost. And we shouldn't lose it. We should all work together so our employees can make more money, right? The city can have more resources, more police, more fire by the taxes that are earned and paid. And let's find a way to work together and make it better, most importantly, for the residents that are truly there year-round. So I'm grateful to the city, and I'm happy we can find a way to work together. And God bless the North End.
My name is Philip Frateroli. I just want to thank first Mayor Wu. She gathered a group of us who didn't all agree and listened to our concerns, responded to them, and helped us all get to where we need to be. So thank you for your leadership. I know it hasn't been easy. Thank you, Chairman Michaelwitz, who's worked tirelessly on this issue on behalf of the residents and the restaurants in the North End. I also want to thank Senator Edwards and the City Council for their work on this issue. For the restaurant community, it's been a very difficult 2 years. As we stand here today, projections are that restaurant revenues will be 11.5% below 2019 for the upcoming year. One of the few good things that has come out of the pandemic is outdoor dining, particularly in the North End. It's been a rare bright spot, especially as most downtown neighborhood restaurants are suffering due to the effects of the shifts to remote work and thousands of commuters not coming into the city for work. As a restaurant community, we're grateful for the opportunity to use public space in this way and are grateful to the administration for bringing fresh ideas on how to make it more sustainable for everybody involved. So thank you for my fellow restaurant owners in the North End for this show of support, especially all those on the group that came together and made the deal. And we're looking forward to a great summer in the North End. Thank you very much.
Questions?
Mayor Wu, on Friday, you threatened to rescind the outdoor dining in the North End if restaurant owners didn't find your plan workable. Is that still a possibility for those who do not agree?
I feel like you would know if I was threatening something. It wasn't a threat. I was clarifying that this is a discretionary permit that the City of Boston gives. It comes from our Public Works Department, so it's very much based on what the conditions are for safety and walkability and accessibility. That is very, very unique when it comes to the conditions in the North End, that the 80-plus patios that are out there mean a whole lot of parking spots that are gone, that affect with diners then sitting right next to traffic, with the changes in traffic patterns that we've introduced to try to make this a little safer, to allow room for delivery trucks, the spacing and all of that. And so it was important to clarify that this is not a program that the city has guaranteed for any part of our city, and we're on the third and last year of a pilot program. We have been in very, very productive conversations. And I think we're standing here today with many members of our restaurant community who understand and have said that they share the city's goal to make sure that the quality of life for residents is paramount in any program the City of Boston puts out. And so from what I see today, it seems like there is a critical mass of restaurant owners who believe this can work, and we are happy to offer those limited hardship waivers that can address specific situations. We're happy to offer the timing and the month-by-month payments that might be different for restaurants in different situations based on how long they're looking to have their patios. And so I'm proud to stand with these restaurant owners and our residents who are here today.
Mayor Nick and Phil run very large, successful restaurants. Congratulations, guys. They have multiple locations. There are a lot of smaller restaurants. They're planning to speak later. They're quite upset about this, and they feel their livelihoods may be at risk. What would you say to them?
I know it's been an incredibly difficult 2+ years for our small business owners all across the city, for our restaurant owners in particular, as the actions of our government came in and shut down their ability to feed their own families, much less everyone else's families. And even in those moments, it was these restaurants who came together and said, how can we help? How can we prepare food that then gets donated to those who are in need during the pandemic? How can we help support the other programming or help deliver and make sure that people are still fed in these moments? And so we owe so much to our small business owners all across the city. As we think about what is sustainable for each and every one of our neighborhoods, as long as I'm mayor, the residents of our city will come first. What each neighborhood needs is going to be my focus, and what we have here today is a program that reflects a lot of community feedback from all different stakeholders over the last several months. It reflects 2 years of real-time experience of what we know outdoor dining means in neighborhoods across our city, and it also reflects, again, a shared belief that we can do this right and have the resources to make our neighborhoods even better and even stronger this summer.
How will you choose who gets a hardship waiver? Is it based on sales? Is it based on liquor licenses? How does that process?
There are 3 factors that we have discussed and that our restaurant owners have helped me understand are important in this particular situation. They are, 1, whether you have a liquor license or not. It does affect your ability to bring in sales and what the profits are for having outdoor seats. 2, the specific location of your restaurant, right? You can sort of, it's intuitive that a restaurant that might be on the main drag, right? Anyone who's passing through, the tourists who come in on Hanover or even on Salem Street, are those restaurants might be in a different situation than those who are not on those main roads. And then the size of the patio, in that right now the safety measures mean that we've shrunk down some of the sizing of patios across the city, and in this neighborhood that means there have been some changes, and some patios are smaller than others, so the number of seats that you're actually getting are different in certain limited situations than others. So those will be the 3 main factors, and those restaurants will qualify for a reduced contribution.
What's the discount, Mayor, on that? Like, for a hardship waiver, would it wipe out the fee entirely? Is it a couple $100?
It would be a reduced rate for our restaurants in those situations.
Right. What would the rate be, or is that case by case?
We are looking to a tiered system right now where, depending on the number of factors, and again, this is all an application process, so that restaurants, as they are signing up and filling in all the specifications of their location and seats and all of that, and working with the city case by case to be able to get the design and size of their patios, that they will also be able to submit some request for a hardship waiver at that point. The city will process those and look to have a reduced rate. We're thinking at this point it would be $5,000 or $3,500 for restaurants who qualify.
Last question, Mayor. Have any other restaurants in Boston stepped up and offered to chip into the fees or support the restaurants in the North End?
Not directly to me.
Mayor, a few residents I spoke with today, they said that the problems sort of persisted before outdoor dining, the rodents, the trash, and the lack of trash pickup certain days of the week. So they were saying that the tax fund should really be what contributes to remedying those problems, not necessarily punishing the restaurants, they say. What do you say to that? Why can't tax dollars fix some of these problems? Why is the fee necessary?
We are putting every dollar that we have to good use. There's a tremendous amount of need out in our communities and in our neighborhoods. It makes a big difference, and there is an additional, very specific impact when we take public street space and turn that into an extension of available liquor license seats and available restaurant seats. And so this is meant to address the particular impacts of this program, but for all of the attention and media and coverage of this event, what I'm grateful for is that it has highlighted that there are needs all across our city. Whether it's related to outdoor dining or not, we need to do better when it comes to rodent control and clean streets and trash pickup and pedestrian safety. And so the lessons that we are taking from this neighborhood where that is all so concentrated and so intense, we are going to make sure that we apply that all across the city as well. Had some conversations with some of my colleagues about what our rodent plans needs to be in many neighborhoods across Boston. So certainly this has never been a situation where anyone from the city of Boston was trying to assign blame to our restaurant owners or to a particular neighborhood or even to outdoor dining specifically for some of the challenges that we face. But we do need to have the resources to address the unique impacts here, and we will put every single tax dollar, if the state wants to give us more support, we are willing to put every single dollar to good use and making sure that we are strengthening, improving affordability, walkability, job opportunities, our educational system. There's a lot out there that we're all working on at once. Our restaurant owners have always been a partner in each and every one of these endeavors, whether it is contributing to the local schools and helping to fund benefits that go to all sorts of needs. We know our small business owners are really the backbone of our communities in many ways, and that they are in it with us to make sure we're supporting residents and making the benefits of our city, the beauty of living in Boston, that should be the baseline for every decision that we make.
Did you expect this much pushback, and do you think that this rollout went as well as it could have?
There's not a day that goes by. I've been in this building for a long time. Every day you have your schedule of what you're planning to do that day, the important issues we're driving forward, and there will always be the examples of events that come up that you weren't prepared for, right? Saturday with the horrific tragedy at the Government Center garage. There will always be examples of something beautiful to swing by. Today, my schedule opened up and I looked to see what was around in the city, and there was a brainstorming event with seniors run by Ethos and our Age Strong Commission in West Roxbury about the need for a senior center and what they hoped to envision there. They want a pool, they want a spa, they want a resort, basically. I don't know, we'll work on that one too. So nothing about this job is exactly predictable. That is what is beautiful about serving the public, is that we are there to serve. We are there to respond, to listen, and then to try to problem solve as quickly and as meaningfully as we can. We won't get it 100% right every time, but we're going to keep trying, and the best that we can do, the closest we ever get to getting it 100% right, is by really being out in community and doing our best to bring people together and keep people at the table together.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Are you just asking about the Government Center garage?
lawsuit that they're threatening to file, Mayor?
Thank you so much, everyone.